Hi everyone. In this first tutorial, we will be doing an app, okay, a very simple app which will just have a label and a button, and when we click on the button, the message on the label changes to hello. So in this important first lesson, we'll be learning some very basic essentials to developing an iPhone app. Okay, so launch your Xcode program and we will click on create a new Xcode project. Alright, so under iOS, select application, select single view application, and then click next. Okay, you can just fill in the product name as my first app, and you can leave the rest as it is. Just leave the checkboxes options ticked. Click next, and you can select the area where you can store your project file. I'll store mine iOS lessons, and next click on create. Okay, so what we have now is the files for our first iPhone app project. Okay, on your left hand side, this is the file directory. Click on the main storyboard, and what you see here is the screen, or what we call the scene of your iPhone app. We will have to first drag a label and a button onto the screen or canvas. To do so, you go to your bottom right corner where we have these sets of objects. Drag it down, scroll down until we see a label. Drag a label in. Okay. Next, you drag a round rectangle button. Alright, drag and click, drag click, and then you see here. Okay, so if you want to test how your user interface looks like, you can click on the run button over here. Alright, run button, and then the Xcode will compile your project for you. Okay, and build it, and the build succeeded prompt arrives, and in your Xcode simulator you have your app here. Okay, the label and the button which you have dragged on earlier. So for now, there's no functionality that has been implemented yet. Okay, so which will do so over here. So what we have just done is we're going to do an application which displays a message on the label when the user clicks on the button. We have created a new single view application. We have named it my first app. Okay, and we have dragged the button and label onto the view canvas. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to trigger an action when the user clicks on the button to output the message on the label. Okay, remember that when I click on this button, I want the message on the label to change. Okay, to do so, we have to implement an action method for the button to call, which means when I click on this button, an action will be called. Next, we will also need to implement an outlet to provide access to this label, which means we need to provide an outlet to this label, okay, so that I can change the content, the text value of this label. I'll explain this more in detail later. Okay, now to do that, okay, what we first to do is we go back to Xcode, we select the label, and we will go to View, under View, go to Assistant Editor, and show Assistant Editor. Okay, so what is shown here is actually the header file for our for our iPhone screen over here. In other words, it is the code where we implement the functionality for the screen. Okay, so click on the label and clicking on the control button and clicking on your mouse button, drag, okay, and link it to the header file here. Let go of the button, and what is next is you see a pop-up small menu over here. Leave the connection as an outlet. Okay, name it my label and click on connect. Okay, so once you've done that, you see that there's a code being generated here. Okay, code which says property and then with non-atomic IB outlet, UI label, my label. So you have actually created an outlet, okay, for the label, and which name is my label. I'll explain this later also. Next, we create an action for the button. Again, select on it, press Ctrl, and click, and then drag, okay, to again over here, let go, and you see another panel here. Now, next is for this, under connection field, select action, okay, and for the name of this action, we'll call it button clicked. Okay, leave the rest as it is and click connect. Okay, so what we see, if you see, is this line is being generated, which means this action has been generated just now. Okay, so what we have done is we have created an outlet. Okay, now what are outlets for? Okay, an outlet is used to enable your code to talk to objects within views. For example, a label. It enables you to interact with the label object by changing the label's text or calling its methods, etc. Other words, when we create an outlet to the label, we create a reference to the label so that we can interact with the label. In our case, we want to change the text of our label. What we have also done is we have created an action for the button. Now, what's an action? An action is used to advertise a method that should be called when a certain event takes place. For example, if a button is pushed, in our case. We have created our action, but we have not specified what to do in our action, which we'll do in this case now. Okay, so notice that this is the header file. This is viewcontrol.h, where we specify the declarations of the property and any actions. To implement our actual action, we have to go to the .m file, okay, which if you double click on it, it will appear a new pop-up button. And notice over here that there is a method header button click as well. Now this is actually where we implement our action method. Okay, so over here what we'll do is we will change the text value in our label. Alright, so remember that we have called our label my label, right? Now we need to put a underscore beforehand. Okay, so dot, and then you assess the string property of it, and equal, we'll say equals hello. Alright, so what happens is when a user clicks on this button, this action method will be called, and hello, the value of hello, will be assigned to the labels.text property. Okay, so to test it all out, we'll click on run again. Okay, it's still building. Alright, we have our app now, and then click on the button. Oh, great, it changes to hello. Okay, so what we have done is to summarize this lesson, we have dragged a label and a button into our screen. We have created an outlet. We have also created an action for the click of the button, and we have implemented that in this action we will change the text of the label to hello. So I hope that this is you learn about outlets and actions in this video. We can link our outlets to other controls like buttons and other UI controls, for example table views and all that. We will go into that later on.